I hate soccer.
One of my old home clubs, Vardar.
Yep.
And if you're familiar with the podcast, for the last 10 years when I've been in Buffalo, I always compare how far behind Buffalo is because of what I grew up in Michigan.
Right.
And so everybody in Buffalo gets so mad at me. They're like, why don't you just go back to Michigan then if it's so great? And I'm like, you don't even understand. So first of all, talk about your role, and then we'll get into all the Michigan.
So I actually came back to Vardar about 3.5 years ago. I actually worked with their Vardar North program that was run by
in
Drago.
Lake Orion?
No, the one up in Saginaw.
Oh, up in Saginaw,
Yeah,
Drago.
yeah, with Drago. So I worked for that program.
I didn't know Drago was still around.
I believe he's in Ohio somewhere. The last I heard from him, he was at Clum in Ohio. But I haven't spoken to him for a few years. So
best up until the World Cup, he's probably the best player I ever saw live.
Yeah, so actually I worked with him at the Vardar North program. I actually worked with him for a couple of years at Saginaw Valley with the women's program. And he's still got it. He's still got his touch. He still can play. He jumped in a couple of times. And actually one of the best moments I've seen in a training session, he megged 6 players in a row. To the point of one girl was like just standing there just trying to keep her legs closed as much as she can and whoop, just slotted it straight through.
Yeah.
And this is at like 55 years of age. So anyway, I kind of came back like 2 or 3 years ago. I was looking at me and the Northwood coach had actually started a program up in Saginaw. And we were looking to try and bring Vardar back up there. And I sat down with Morris and we talked a little bit, and I talked with Mike, because I'd stayed in touch with Mike pretty frequently, with coaching with the girls side, and him doing a lot of recruiting from that area. So talked to him about doing that, and then at the Christmas time Morris contacted me and said that there could be an opportunity with one of the MLS teams, which was the U15s at the time, which was the 08s. So I came in January and took them over. Saw them out through that season, and then took the 07s from Steve Arce to the U17s, saw them through to the U19s, and then at Christmas took the 08s back. So I've had the 08s and the 07 group for the last couple of years, and then this year kind of been in place with the 17s and 19s. So I absolutely love it. I mean, it's the best level in the country.
Absolutely.
The players, the players are super dedicated, they're committed. They do the right things. They eat the right things. Hopefully, they do the work off the field. It's not just the 5 hours of training, and then they hope that's going to do it. So
yeah,
I absolutely I love it, and I love working for Morris and Mike. Morris is there's no what you see is what you get. There's no kind of behind the scenes. Like he tells you exactly what's expected from you.
Right.
But also he provides you with everything that you need. To get there. We've got, again, a lot of good coaches. Obviously Steve, a very good coach. Mike, I learned a lot from Mike that first year I was with him. I've took over from one of Demir's teams, so
yep.
I'm kind of using him as a reference point. I think he's a fantastic coach. But then obviously some of our other younger coaches like Vittorio, that we talked about before, I think he's got a fantastic future in front of him with coaching. I know it's not his main priority, but I mean he's a very good coach. You can see that when he's in the game. He's living the game when he's there. So, and his teams are very good.
How long have you been in Michigan?
Landed in Michigan in 01, technically.
Okay.
And I was actually working for MLS Camps. I don't know if you're familiar with North American sports camps.
I remember that.
So MLS Camps was actually why I first came to the States.
Got it. And they were like through Red Bulls or the clubs and whatnot. Yeah.
So
okay.
I was actually living in Phoenix, believe it or not, and they moved me to Midland because they had a program up there. It was run by Paul Thomas. I don't know if you remember Paul Thomas.
I remember Paul Thomas.
And then Nate Richards.
He was there after I left, I believe.
Okay, because he went down and ran that Taylor Sports Complex before he moved. I believe he might be in North Carolina now, I think. He moved out to California after that. So I worked there with Paul, and at the time Paul was looking to go to Saginaw Valley. He was looking to get his degree.
Yep.
Because obviously, anything in soccer around here, college-wise, or even at that point, directorship, you needed a bachelor's. So
yep.
He was looking to do that. And I'd done a year at a school in Missouri. Did okay, it was all right. It just Well, I did a fall at JUCO, and then I did a spring at Columbia College.
Oh, okay. Right near Mizzou.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was okay, but it was my first kind of taste of the college athlete, because obviously it's a massive. You don't get any of that in England. There's nothing like that.
Right.
Like university soccer in England is not. It's not existent. I mean, it's a decent level, but it's not as organised as it is over here.
And it's not a goal over there like
not
it is
at all.
here.
Not at all. I mean,
Right.
usually if you get told at 15, 16 that you're not going to be a pro, from there it's just, I'll just play with my mates, or I'll play semi-pro, or I'll play on a Saturday, get my expenses, that kind of thing. So
Yeah. It's crazy how you just named off a bunch of guys, and they're one's in Ohio, one's in North Carolina. Like, you were in Phoenix, or you said Arizona?
I came here, so I was here for probably about 18 months.
Okay.
So,
and that was all through the camps?
yeah, so I worked in Tempe, and then their area was Arizona, they had New Mexico.
Were you ever like doing one of those camps in like the Lake Orion, Clarkston, Rochester area?
My first summer in '98, I did one in Detroit, but it was in right downtown Detroit, because I was based out of Chicago.
Got
so
it.
We worked with the fire over there.
Okay.
So, but my first summer, I just travelled a lot. I just wanted to see as much of the country as I could.
Got it. I mean, okay. So after the camps.
So 01 obviously got picked up by Saginaw Valley. The coach picked myself and Paul up. So I went back home, got the visa changed over from a work to a school visa, came back in 02. Played out in the PDL for West Michigan Edge.
Okay.
For Klaus, De Boer over there.
Yeah.
And then that kind of got me into it. Played the fall at Saginaw Valley, so I played 02, 03, and 04 at SVSU. I played under...
Did you play with, oh my God, Southern Illinois? Come
Kale?
on. Yeah, Kale Wasserman.
So Kale was my best man, actually, at my wedding.
Stop it. Is he here?
No, he's not here. He's not here. I don't think he's come. He's got a very young family, so I don't know.
He watches the show.
Yeah, I know he had an interesting season this year. So, yeah.
Good.
I don't think so. I don't think it was as good as he wanted to be. But
He
again,
wanted it.
I mean, he won everything the year before. So, I mean, that's it's a tough feat to kind of come back against. But I mean, and that league's getting better. I mean, Lindenwood did better this year.
What position did you play?
I was a centre mid.
Did you play with a goalkeeper that was from like Trinidad and Tobago? I was gonna go to be like a walk-on at SVSU, and so I go up there. I probably watched you play. This is 2002.
Yeah.
Maybe 2001. 2002, and he is in goal, and I'm like, one, his size,
Yeah.
and two, it's like he was hilarious. He was one of the funniest goalies I've ever listened to during a game.
Yeah, He still plays now. He
Yeah?
lives in Florida. Moved down to Fort Lauderdale about probably 10 years ago now.
Okay.
Because his family down there, mum and dad was down there, so he's down there. He's got a couple of boys, so he still plays. I think he plays in the UPSL actually. Mm-hmm. The UPSL is pretty big down in South Florida, so he still plays down there. Yeah, absolute specimen of a human being.
It was crazy.
Actually pretty good technically as well, and can play on the field.
That was pretty. You guys were a good team.
Yeah, and that's I say all the time. I talk to the guys at Northwood now, and they're like, what was it like when you played here? And I was like, the organisation just wasn't. I mean, my sophomore year we played 11 games. There was no pre-season. There was no post-season tournament. There was no the GLIAC was Saginaw Valley, Northwood. Ashland, Tiffin, Finley.
Yep. It's a good conference too.
It was a very good conference. I just don't think having been involved in the GLIAC and now in the GMAC with Northwood, the GLIAC it's all over the place. I mean, it goes from St. Cloud State all the way to Saginaw and Davenport and Northern Michigan, and they're just all over the place. So
yeah, well, I kind of. All of college athletics is ridiculous.
Right.
Like Stanford is in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
How does that make sense?
Right.
Why is UCLA and Washington and Oregon in the Big Ten? It just doesn't make sense.
No, it needs to get streamlined a little bit, and I think that will help. I mean, look at the tournament right now. None of the big names are in the tournament. If you think about it, I know some of those, I don't want to say those schools aren't big name schools, but they're not the names that you think about.
Correct. So let's go back then, right? So you came, coached, then became a player in college.
Yep.
How old were you, like your freshman year? Air quotes.
24.
So that is like one of the things that everybody like bitches and complains about. And it's like you were better than the 18-year-old kid. It's like it's just the reality right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's changing. I think I think it has changed to that. I don't think it was that for a while. I think coaches are looking at. I think previously coaches would take a gamble on an 18-year-old, coming out and be like that. But
Right.
I think now, the international market has a lot to do with that. Because there was a big switch a few years ago in England where you actually had to start paying for universities. So that's why there was a mass influx of players, because they were like, well, if I'm going to have to pay, I might as well try myself, and go out there. I mean, it was always a possibility for players, but I think that expanded. And then that's where you now start seeing, the recruiting agencies coming in.
Right.
SR USA is another one. When I first went back to Northwood, it wasn't very big. I remember going to one of their showcases. It was a pretty small showcase in England. Now, they're worldwide. He's got them all over the place. So.
And they work with American kids too, right?
Yeah, so Chris actually was I believe Chris was a former MLS camps. Chris Cousins, the guy that runs it.
Okay.
I believe he was a former MLS camps coach, and he started off with the thing. So he brought over English kids, and then they do a lot of recruiting. I believe they're here at this. They do a lot of like recruiting events within America because they have a good staff now within America. Because so they don't just do incoming freshmen. They do freshmen. They do transfers now. They do grad students. So they've kind of opened it all up to the whole kind of, obviously helping within the transfer portal.
Right.
To kind of help that whole disaster out, which is the transfer portal.
I mean, are you coaching? You're coaching at Northwood.
So I'm the associate head coach at Northwood. This will just been my 7th season. And I worked there for a couple of seasons prior. I did 09, 10 and 11 with Doug Carter.
Okay.
And actually when I first came over, it was Dean, Dean Pappas? Dean Pappas?
I know the name.
So I played for Dean for 2 years when I was at Saginaw Valley.
Yep.
And then when I got done with Saginaw Valley, I just went out. I got a couple of high school jobs in Saginaw. Coached at Nouvelle High School. Did their boys for 3 years, and did the Heritage Girls for a year.
Okay.
Just my own team, kind of
Cut
my
your
own,
teeth,
my own kind of style.
things,
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely. And just obviously seeing the American system. You know what I mean? Like the parents and how that whole scenario deals with. And then Dean contacted me about coming and helping him at Northwood because they were trying to do a reserve team, about coming in and doing that. And I liked coaching girls, don't get me wrong, but the girls' soccer was non-existent when I left England. So it was a whole new concept to me when I came over here. So
And it was just so much bigger. And people don't realize that because... This episode is brought to you by Salt Athletic. A couple weeks ago, I'm training one of my college players. She plays at Kentucky. I noticed that she has one of these salt bags. I see them on social media all the time, and I was wondering, I was like, okay, does this thing really work? Well, she opened up her bag and pulled her cleats out, and it was the worst smelling pair of cleats maybe that I've ever smelled. While they were in the bag, I didn't smell anything. And it was amazing that it could trap in all of the smell so that her bag doesn't stink, that her car doesn't stink. I could not vouch for this product more. As a goalkeeper, I wish I had this 20 years ago for my gloves, and they do have a glove bag. Go to the link in the description for 10% off and get rid of all the smell, guys. This episode is brought to you by Grips Soccer Socks. Guys, stop spending $55 on a pair of socks when there are other options available. Grips Soccer was founded by a father and son who were sick of paying $55 for socks. Go to gripsoccer.com and use promo code IHateSoccer for 15% off. That's gripsoccer.com. Promo code IHateSoccer. Every time that I say something like the DA really screwed up in 07 by not starting the girls' academy, and that is what spawned the ECNL and this turf war that we're on right now.
Right.
And and everybody's like, our girls are the best in the world. We're the best in the world. We just won the Olympics. Olympics are 12 teams, man. Like, stop.
Right.
And we're World Cup champs, but no, we're not. Spain is. We were in 2015 and then 2018, right? Or 2019. But yeah, like, we're so lazy on the girls' side. And now, when was the last time you went home?
2019.
Okay, even in 2019, we're talking 6 years ago. I bet you the women's side was already built up more than you've ever seen.
I mean, to the point of now that you've got girls coming over to here to play college. I mean, that I'd never have even imagined.
Lucy Bronze is a big one.
Yeah.
You're England, right? English?
Mancunian, Manchester,
I'm just
born
sure.
and bred. Yep, no, Manchester born and bred. So.
Are you United?
I am a United fan. Yep.
That's what you said the other day. Is like, yeah, United players are like ones.
Yep. I'm proud to be a United fan as well. I mean, it's but it's also part of the
culture.
Yeah, and where I'm from as well, like the part of Manchester I'm from. So, almost the red side from Salford. So,
what's that like growing up? And just like, it's so much of your DNA. You wake up and you think about the game.
Right.
That's like how I was yesterday with the Chiefs, because I'm a diehard Chiefs fan since I was born, because I was born in Kansas City, and I was stressed. I got up and I left. I couldn't watch it last night because we're just terrible right now. But how can you go into that culture? So
it's hard to kind of describe unless you're kind of involved in it. I mean, I grew up I was born in '77, so I grew up in the '80s. When Liverpool were big.
Yeah.
And I remember going to school in Manchester and seeing Liverpool shirts, and it's just like, that's not normal. That's not what it should be. And then obviously at that time United weren't very good, under Ron Atkinson, and we were a poor team. And then obviously when Ferguson came in, that whole kind of situation changed. But it's a lot has to do with obviously the part of the town that you're from, or almost the area that you're from. I'm from the north part of Manchester, a park called Ratcliffe, just outside of Bury. It's mostly predominantly the red side. If you're from maybe the east side of Manchester, you might be a City fan.
Is there a bridge that or a road that separates it?
No, not really from that aspect. It's more from, obviously Old Trafford is in the kind of southwest almost part of Manchester where it is, and then Main Road has moved now obviously out to the Etihad. It's come to the east side of Manchester. Obviously a lot has to do with your parents, what dad followed. My dad was a United fan. My whole family's United fans.
Did your dad play?
No, my dad did not play soccer.
So are you first generation?
I am a 100% first generation. My sisters never played. My dad was a swimmer and he ran in high school. So
maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought that we're so far behind because a lot of these kids are around here are still first generation soccer players, and the rest of the world are all third, fourth, fifth.
Yep.
And I don't know if is that real? Or is that not real?
No, it's 100% real. Because look at it now. I've this year in our club, there's two guys that I played at Saginaw Valley with that have got kids in our club. They've got one of them's got a 12 and one of them's got a 13, and I know for a fact that both of them have both raised their kids with soccer. You know what I mean? They watch, they have the kits on, they know. So I think once you have that generation, because ultimately soccer's still, there's a lot of people that are not educated when it comes to soccer in this country.
Exactly.
And I think the more that they're educated and the more that they're around it, once you've been here and then you bring your kids up, you come to these kind of events, you know what's going on. You know the lay of the land, you know the leagues, you know how to kind of get to, a certain level within it. Whereas before it wasn't. I think parents before were kind of more relying on their kids giving them the information than them actually knowing what to do with their kid.
Right.
And then that don't even get me started when it comes to the college recruiting side of things. When it comes to educating the parents, that's it's like the Wild West.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, so I think it's just about being around those environments and then just having the education and having experience of those situations.
Can you talk about what it was like growing up trying to get into an academy over there, and what that process is like?
It's a lot of it's regionalized. So like a lot of the...
Do they have like territories that they're allowed, or is
certain
there no
clubs
rules?
Certain clubs do. So I actually got scouted when I was 11 to go to the England School of Excellence, which was at the time was at Lilleshall.
Yep.
And there was within our squad, I think it was like 3 or 4 of us that ended up getting offered to go down there and train. So what they'll do is they'll bring like a larger pool, kind of similar to what ODP does over here.
Yeah.
But it's free. So there's no like, well, I can't go because I can't pay the $50 to go there, or I can't. So, and if you were one of the ones selected to go down to it, they sent you the schedule and here's your train ticket, here's your, like everything was covered for you. Mm-hmm. So there's no real expenses kind of out of your pocket from there. So it's still very difficult. I mean, there's a reason why you see a lot of English guys over here coaching is because trying to get into the programs over there. It's very much I like to call it the old boys club,
right?
Because it's the players that come through do their badges before they stop playing, so then they are automatically put in for those jobs and
right.
that sort of thing. Very rarely do you see somebody that's not played come in and kind of do. I'm
kind of starting to see that with the MLS academies.
Yeah, I can see that
especially
a little
like
bit.
Real Salt Lake.
Really?
Yeah, I had Jordan Allen on yesterday. He's the 16s head coach, and he played for RSL. And I think the 18s coach played for RSL, and they were in Casa Grande in the residency, and now they're and I get it from their standpoint because they've been through it. They've been away from mom and dad, as a 15-year-old kid and whatnot. But the thing about I might get in trouble for this, but like
maybe you edit it out.
I will not edit it out because it pisses me off. Because okay, the fascination with academies over there drives me nuts, and here's why. Because if you're Manchester United and you're trying to put, let's say, the 4 teams together, you get to select the best players in the area, in the country. And then they release kids every single year.
Right.
And they bring in new kids every single year. But then these academies, even like La Masia, they get the cream of the crop. A kid from Argentina that was like a midget at the time ends up being the best player in the world and just just falls on their lap because he needs a human growth hormone.
I mean, United did it a little bit differently for about 5-6 years ago. They started to bring a lot of European players over, like a lot of the younger European players, like Gerard Piqué was one of the first ones.
Well, yeah, that's right. And then he went back.
So they went into
Pogba. Pogba was older.
Wasn't. So it was Piqué and Fabregas were the first two that kind of went off. So obviously Fabregas. But what they did was they tapped into that rule that they couldn't sign professional contracts till they were 18. So they would come in at 16 and offer them, obviously a good living, and they'd be like, well, I'd rather go and make money now if I know I can do and go to those programs. So that's when they started tapping in. So if you look at about 5-6 years ago, the United, at least the under-18s, they had 5 or 6 like European under-18 players.
This is going to be hilarious because everybody complains about all the internationals are coming and taking our college spots. It's happening in England too.
Absolutely.
Because guess what, guys? Like England of course is very good, and they've sometimes overrated, sometimes properly rated. I think they're properly rated right now. I think they're excellent, but they're still not France.
We're a bit more balanced than we used to be.
Yeah.
I will say that. I think our biggest issue, well, obviously that golden generation where they were trying to shoehorn the Lampard, Scholes and Gerrard, everybody together, and the fact they didn't like each other. I think Southgate was good for us to an extent because he got us to a team, and it looks like Tuchel should get us balanced because he doesn't listen to the media. That's the biggest problem. Do
you think that Gerrard and Lampard didn't really get along because they're too similar?
Yes and no. I mean, honestly, I think I mean, obviously, of the three, I'm a Scholes all the way.
Paul Scholes is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Probably the best player in the Premiership for me, the way he played.
I remember when there was like an argument about him and Xavi, and I was like, I kind of like Scholes.
But I think to go back to your question, the Gerrard Lampard scenario, if you look how they both play, I think they could have played together if Gerrard was the sitter and Lampard was allowed to go. But the problem is Gerrard did everything for Liverpool. He was like a 6, 8 and a 10 for Liverpool. I mean, if you remember, he started off as an 8, then he dropped a little bit, he moved forward and Suarez came. He played just behind Suarez as a 10 there, almost as a higher up, almost maybe a withdrawn forward type scenario. He scored a few goals and then he sat back as a 6, towards the end of his career. So I just think we didn't have a man. I mean, at that time it was Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a manager that, because it's not just the team that you're dealing with. I mean, the English media is it's
brutal.
It's absolutely crazy.
And I wanted you guys to win. Maybe 2 years ago, it was Southgate, and
Kane smashed.
It was like the first. It was the first game, and like, get him out, sack him now. And I'm like, you guys could still win the whole damn thing, and you guys are like freaking out.
Sack him now.
Sack him now.
Everyone's trying to get him sacked during the tournament.
It was ridiculous.
Right.
Oh my god! But who's the comedian? The English comedian that did that skit with all the English players. It was like Beckham and I think Scholes was in it. I think maybe Nicky Butt was in it, and then Gerrard and Lampard was in it. And he goes, he's like, it's like a skit, and he's like trying to do a pump up to the team, and he's like, I think he's talking to like, hey Frank Lampard, do you know what's his name? Oh, it's Steven Gerrard. It's like, yeah. Then why don't you ever pass to him? It was like, it is hilarious. Right. Oh, what is that comedian's name? He has a late night show.
Oh, James Corden?
Yeah, it was James Corden. It was phenomenal. I love that skit, but yeah.
Yeah, I just think with that generation, if we had had a stronger manager, because they'll say, like, Scholes comes out on some of those podcasts and he's like, well, I played on the left side for United a few times, and it's like, I don't remember you ever played on the left-hand side when we had Ryan Giggs playing. Ryan Giggs and Beckham either side. You were in the middle with Roy Keane, do you know what I mean? Like, there was never really a scenario where you would do that. So
Giggs, man.
I played against his younger brother.
Stop it.
So I played one game against his younger brother when I was 11, and I remember him coming. Ryan didn't come to the game, but his mom was there, and there was a scout from United there. A very good player. Rodri was a very good player, just obviously not got the intangibles that Ryan had. But
my favorite Giggs story. Okay, so in high school, like when I was coaching high school and stuff, I would have coach's award, but I based it off of Ryan Giggs, and basically it was like, okay, if I got a red card and I couldn't coach and the assistant wasn't there, which player is going to be the coach? Who's going to take it over?
Right.
So, and that made me think of, well, actually, it was I think it was Davey Moyes when he got fired, and then they had Giggs coach, and I'm like, yeah, that's how it should be, and that's what all these players should aspire to, is be Ryan Giggs, like, be that guy on the field. That's my favorite Giggs
I just
story.
don't think you'll ever see a player with as good as, I mean, his balance was unbelievable. I mean, the amount of, I actually had a player a couple of years ago that was a left winger, and he actually was a United fan, and I was talking to him, I was like, have you ever watched videos of Ryan Giggs? And he's like, no. It's just like, okay, God. Different generation. I was like, but just I mean, he never did a step over.
No.
Never did a step over. He was literally just chopping, cutting the ball side to side, getting the player off balance, and then exploding into the space. Never over really did it. Nice little, knew when he could cut into the player to kind of beat him because of I mean, his balance was phenomenal. And I mean, that's realistically how he beat 90% of his opponents.
Who's the England manager right now?
Tommy Tuchel.
What do you... Okay, so...
Strange to have a German in charge.
Right. And that's going to be interesting.
Especially if he wins it. if he wins it, I mean,
then the narrative about you need an English coach is gone
completely. But also as well that they have the knighthoods in England, don't they? So.
Oh yeah. Who was the Italian coach that you guys had?
Capello.
Yeah, Fabio Capello. So I had a conversation yesterday with Orlando City FC's like mental performance coach, and she actually brought up Sir Alex Ferguson. We were talking about team culture, right? And I asked, is it player-led or is it coach-led? And she's like, it depends on the club. And she brilliantly was like, if you look at Barcelona, she worked for like Atletico Madrid. She's legit. But she's like, if you look at Barcelona, they changed managers, but since Cruyff, it's always been the exact same identity.
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson leaves, and you guys are still searching for that.
Can't find it anymore. But he also is. I think football's a lot different now because when he was there, he was
4-4-2.
He was, but he was in charge of all of the transfers. There was no such thing as a director of football at that stage. He was the one that took care of all of the contracts. You know, he'd sit down with the players and figure out, or he'd have to sign off on renewals or contracts for players. So there's a lot of difference. I feel like a lot more's kind of been put in almost like a group's hands, whereas he kind of had his hands on all of his fingers in pies, if you will, almost.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had, obviously, the ownership. You can complain about the ownership as much as you want, but I think there's most clubs that have issues with owners. You know what I mean, eventually. But I think also losing David Gill was big.
What was his role?
He was the CEO.
Okay.
So what, like, I think Omar Morada is right now.
Okay.
And him and Gill obviously worked exceptionally well together. So when both of them left, he was also a big part of UEFA as well, the UEFA board. So that obviously helped from that standpoint. But I just don't feel like, since he's left, I feel like he left us in an okay position, but I don't feel like he left us in a great position. I don't feel like when he left, we were kind of prepared to kind of move on. Like, I'll use a case in point when Guardiola leaves City. I don't think that gap is going to be as big.
You don't?
I don't think so, because I think they're already kind of planning for it. Because I don't think he'll be around for that much longer. I can't see him being around for that much longer.
No.
Just the way he works and obviously the pressures that go with that job.
Yeah, but I think it was when he was at Barcelona. They showed a picture when he started, and then a picture when he looked like an American president that ages.
Right.
If you look
all
at
gray and no hair now.
If you look at it like Obama in 2008, and then look at him in 2016, he looks like he aged 20 years.
Well, he just got divorced, didn't he, last year? So I mean, his wife's followed him around all over from Barcelona to Bayern Munich to City, but he just got divorced last year. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and from a coach's side of things, a strong support system is like I said, we said before, it's a lonely profession when things are maybe not going well for you. So having that support network there to kind of bring you back to reality would definitely help.
We talked about it before we started. Youth coaching is a lonely profession.
Yep.
And I think parents don't really understand that, right? And I get tired of coaches shitting on parents, but I get sick of parents shitting on coaches. It's part of why it's called I Hate Soccer. You know what I mean? It's just like, because it's all just ridiculous sometimes. And you don't know what kind of stress these coaches are going through.
Right.
And it's not an easy lifestyle, man.
No.
We live in a car. Our car is packed to the masses of soccer equipment. It smells. We're eating like crap.
Right.
We're some of us drinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what some parents don't kind of understand is like if you don't win, and obviously development, winning and losing is part of your development. I understand that, and everybody wants to win. That's why we play a sport. That's why you compete. Everybody wants to win, but it's the ones,
boys.
It's the ones that don't look at the bigger picture. It's the now. Do you know what I mean? It's the ones that it's the instant gratification, like it has to be now, And then I think the opportunities that some of these guys, I mean, I've never played at a facility like this.
This is unbelievable.
I've never played a facility, but even the organisation of this, and I use this quite a bit when I talk to my players. It's like, for me, like we went down this year, we played in Columbus, we went down and played, at Crew Stadium, we went to Toronto's facility a couple of weeks after and played there. While we were playing in the Dome, Ecuador's national team were training outside. And it's like, for me back home, to kind of assimilate, this is like me going to Chelsea's, like going to Cobham and train and play, or going to to United and play, and City and play. You guys get to play against kids that are going to be pros.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like a couple of years, you're going to watch these kids on the TV. Like I remember my first year with Vardar, we played. The Crew came to town, and we drew with them 2-2. But Chase Adams scored both goals.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I think he was like 16.
Okay.
And I mean, he absolutely abused our team. It just, but you could see, this kid is special. He's going to, you're going to watch him play in a couple of years, and look at where he's at already. You know what I mean? So like, you look at that, and I think sometimes kids don't understand the magnitude of, kind of what they're, until it's gone. You know what I mean? Until they're into college, and then I've had players, right now at Northwood that have played, in MLS, and we talk about players. Oh, I played against him, or I played against him, and it's like.
And people don't understand that, especially where I'm at now in Buffalo. So when I was at Vardar, it ended up being Vardar Lake Orion or Vardar North or whatever. So one of our players he was in 2000. I think he was a 2000 birth year, and he played against Josh Sargent.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so the frustrating part when I got to Buffalo is the parents in Buffalo would rip on the DA club that is in Rochester because they lose too much. And I'm like, do you know who they're playing against?
Right.
In their conference, they have New England Revs, they have New York City FC, they have Red Bulls, they have Montreal, and they have Toronto. They have to go through a gauntlet.
Right.
And they have their non-MLS Academy clubs in there are massive clubs. They have to go to Boston and I'll play all the New York City teams. And it's like, you're crapping on a team that is playing future pros you don't understand. And I'm like, have you ever gone and watched the game? No. I just checked the scores.
Check the scores.
Like,
see it on social media.
Does that go on? That can't go on in Michigan. It cannot. Because
honestly, it really does. It really. Again, going back, the first time I came, my first year in, we actually had. Well, actually, it was when they did the switch, because MLS have changed their rules. It was like last year it was just 17s and 19s, and then they've opened it up to like 15s and 15s and 16s, and now it's 13s and 14s. But when I first came in, we had the Crew, we had Cincinnati, we had Chicago, we had St. Louis. And then we had Minnesota. Those were the five that we went to. And then this year it's kind of shortened down. We have Columbus, Cincinnati, and Toronto. So they moved Chicago and St. Louis and Minnesota out of us. So they've kind of the way they've realigned it. But we still play. But then they split the Mid America in half. So like our half is obviously the five in Michigan: Vardar, Wolves, Jags, MFA. The new one in Grand Rapids, and then Midwest United.
Wait, there's a new one in Grand Rapids? Is that homegrown
So
or is it academy?
They have both. So it's Michigan Football Club is actually what it's called. But that MLSNext pro team, that AC Grand Rapids, they're linked with them. So they just joined this year. They're not a bad team.
We have 5 MLSNext clubs in Michigan.
Yeah, well, they have homegrown. They offer the homegrown round, the year-round round. So it's obviously the 3 of us in Detroit.
Yep.
And then the two over in Grand Rapids. So.
Jags have academy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then there's the academy side of it where they just flooded it with everybody else. with the Tigers and Liverpool's thing.
That's all the home.
doing.
That's all homegrown, right?
No, they're all academies. So really, what you're seeing is there's no. I think really. I think it's a good idea to have done it. I think it opens it up to more players.
Exactly.
Absolutely opens up to more players.
I think that's why.
But I also don't think they differentiate it very well. Like, I don't think you can have a club that doesn't have a homegrown route, that just has the academy route, that they're publicising themselves as an MLSNext club. So again, it goes back to the education that we talked about with parents. If I'm a parent and I'm looking at it and it's like, oh, Vardar, MLSNext, and then it's like, oh, Michigan Bucks, oh, MLSNext. It's like, oh, it's the same thing. It's like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. You're playing our B teams.
Right.
I mean, like, you're not playing our A teams. So
that's what I always got. It was so funny when, like, the Wolves and Vardar had their B teams in ECNL.
Yeah.
And I had a coach in Buffalo. At first, when I first met him, he's like, because I was talking about how great Michigan soccer was, and he was like, I've never heard of any player, blah 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 blah. Like, Michigan, like, we used to pump those teams in my day. Then he gets the job to coach an A team at Western New York Flash, boys ECNL. He has to play the Michigan Wolves ECNL team. That means their B team, because their first team was in the DA at the time.
Right.
He gets pumped like 12-0. He goes, what the hell is going on in Michigan? And I go, told ya.
Yeah,
and
for sure. I mean, I just think it also became it's just become oversaturated with clubs. I mean, obviously, probably when you were, when the DA was there with Vardar and Wolves, Nationals wasn't really a thing. When that merged with Waza and Gators, that whole merger thing, that expanded. And then obviously, with Andy's connection with Liverpool, that brings in a well-known name. So that obviously elevates that. And then a lot of these places are, they have their main hub, and then they have franchise here and a franchise there and a franchise there, which is similar to the European route if you think about it, because they all have their own like satellite camps. Like, going back to the United scenario, United do get the options of the best players, like the 14s, like you used an example, but what they do is they don't go to random clubs. They actually have regional training centres. So within Manchester, there are probably four training centres, north, south, east, west, where they bring those kids together and they're trained by United staff. And then those four areas, they'll be like, all right, there's 3 kids from the north, there's 5 kids from the south. These are the guys that we need to bring into our next incoming class. So it's not if you get picked up by them, you don't go straight into the U14 team. You'll go to their regional area first to do training, and then if they think you're good enough, then they get picked up. But it's also a totally different scenario with how that side of things is ran. So a few years ago, I'm sure you've heard of the Mullenstein method.
Oh yeah.
I
love the name.
So with Irwin. So obviously being a United fan, when Renee first came over,
he was phenomenal. I
learned
so much from him just watching him on like YouTube and stuff. And just
I did that weekend with him when he did it in Grand Rapids.
Yep.
I was at that course, and we asked him, the first question on the night was like, one of the questions was like, how do you guys deal with parents? And every parent that comes in has to sign a contract. You're not allowed to say anything, not allowed to speak. You actually have to sit, I believe he said there's barriers that are like 5 feet from the field. So you're not like sat right on the sidelines. You have to sit behind a barrier that's off from the field. Like, you're not allowed to do like pretty much anything. You just come sit and watch, that's it. So, but again, it's, you're not going to... But again, the prestige of being that, I don't think parents are going to really be saying anything. You don't want to be the parent that gets your son kicked out of Man United because you're shouting shoot on the side.
Yeah, I see that, and I see that here too. Like, the parents are pretty well behaved here. Like, they're elite. You go to, when you get back to Michigan, go watch a U8 game and watch those parents.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
crazy.
I mean, so I talked
parents
to Morris.
Are silent here.
I talked to Morris. So Morris does our younger age groups.
He does?
Yeah, he's gone in and started doing, because he's got his granddaughters, and his son Justin's helping him.
He's good with little ones.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal coach with those little age groups. But he's the same way. It's like some of these parents. It's like I'm dealing with some of the crazy questions from those parents, as opposed to the U17, U19 MLS kids, that are playing all over the country and are, looking at those things. So I think it's universal no matter what the level is.
Yeah.
Even the age. You're always going to have that parent, that lives vicariously through their child. But again, I think it comes down to if you educate them properly, you kind of let them know. But you also have a standard of what's acceptable.
Do you think clubs could get away with that? I know MLS academies can because they're free.
Yeah, that's where it's always
Do you think that like a Vardar or a Jags could have parents sign contracts?
No.
You can't because they're customers. They're paying customers.
They're paying customers, unfortunately. That's the unfortunate. I mean, it's the grey area of club soccer, unfortunately. I mean, when I played, I never paid anything. I paid, so we used to call it what it was called subs, which paid for the referee. And I mean, I'm talking back in the 80s, obviously, so everything was a lot cheaper. It's 50 pence a game, and every player would pay 50 pence on that, and then everybody on the other team would pay, and that money went together, and that's what paid the ref. You never paid for facilities, you never paid for all that other stuff. So the fact that the money that some of these parents drop, they're absolutely astronomical.
At the lower levels, who pays for it?
It's usually just paid for by the clubs, or it's just a local field that the club that if you visit. There's obviously a ton of soccer fields in England. They're everywhere. And a lot of the times, I mean, I remember the field that I used to play on was actually, it was at a wine bar that was run by Brian Robson.
Yep.
It's called Benny's.
Okay.
Benny's Wine Bar. And it used to have 2 fields out there. Anybody can go use them.
Whereas, go try to just like do a one-on-one session somewhere in Michigan, you will get kicked off.
Absolutely.
Or you go up to the turf field at the high school and the goals are chained together.
Right.
It's like culture.
Oh, there's no lights. I drove past a high school near the house where we're staying the other day. Full field, flood lit up. There's 2 kids out there doing crossing and shooting. You'd never find that in Michigan. There's no chance.
No, you get kicked off because it's grass and our weather is awful.
Right.
And they're like, we got to save this grass. Well, for what? Come on, man.
Exactly.
U8s play on this field. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I think it's just about. I mean, it's like anything else, though, isn't it? And once they find a way to make money off of it.
Let's talk about the MLS next. And in terms of, do you, being at a smaller, air quotes, club, do you feel like you're part of what's over on these fields? Or do you feel removed from it?
I don't say removed from it. I feel like, I mean, the other thing for me, obviously, the club I work for was one of the founding member clubs. I don't think
one of the best clubs in the country.
That's what I mean. I mean, for me, the first time I was working for Vardar, I didn't really understand how big the club was until I went down to Florida to do a coaching license, and everybody was like, "You work for Vardar? You work for Vardar?" And it's like, wow, that kind of gives you the enormity of it. So, I think in some ways they're always going to try and be that separation. I mean, even down to the fact of if an MLS club, you play against an MLS club, one of your players has a good game. 2 weeks later, they're hitting up Steve and being like, "Oh, can this guy come down and train with us?" So whereas we don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? Like, we're not able to go in and say, to one of the academy players, "Hey, listen, I think you should come and play, in the first tier, not play in the second tier." So I always think that they're always going to be that separation. I feel like it probably could get bigger and bigger as it goes on. Just with the way that, like we talked about before, with how hard it is obviously to get into MLS Cup. This year, for the first time, they've made it so that all the MLS academies are in flex this year. So, whether they qualify or not through the route, but we still have to play them during the course of our season as counts as flex games, and they're going anyway. So it's kind of just little small things where that kind of are implemented where you're like, that's not.
Okay. Do these games count for your record?
Nope, these are just 3 showcase.
Well,
if you're in a showcase game, yeah. So they've got coming up next week. They've moved GA Cup to the younger age groups. So instead, last year it was 17s and 19s. This year it's 15s and 16s. So
And the GA Cup is this week for the little ones,
yeah,
right?
So when they come in, that'll start. I think Wednesday that starts.
Gotcha.
So,
I mean, can you explain Flex?
so Flex is the playoff version. So you'll
okay.
play everybody in your league once, whether home or away,
Mm-hmm.
and then those. It's kind of like a mini tournament, and then each, I think it's like the top 3 or 4 from each league go, and then you'll play in a tournament in. It wasn't Maryland, it's moved to Dallas next year.
Okay.
And then you'll play in that, and if you win your group in that, then you'll go on to MLS Cup from there. If you win your so that's obviously how you get into MLS Cup, but then you can also get into MLS Cup through your league. So if you're second in your league and you go to Flex and the team above you, so say we're first and Wolves, or we're second, Wolves are first, Wolves win their Flex group, then we will go through, and we don't win our Flex group, we'll go through as the league person as the second place team. So
Okay.
it's kind of, again, it's very strange of how they do it. It's not just one kind of set thing, but
How many games are you playing a year?
it's actually shortened this year. I believe we're only on 20 or 21.
21
I
for the
believe so.
entire year. Because the DA used to be, 36, I believe?
Yeah.
So, okay. What is your, training to game ratio?
So we're during August, September, and October. We're 4 nights a week.
4 nights.
We go Monday through Thursday, and then obviously once the winter season starts,
Go down to 3.
we go down to 2 training sessions and then 1. It's kind of a futsal conditioning type. So 1 week we'll do conditioning and agility work, then another night we'll do futsal and stuff.
What are you guys doing futsal?
It's the Oakland Community Gym
Okay.
around the corner from Oakland University there.
Yep.
So,
Is that's not the Y?
no, it's actually part of the community college. So there's a gym.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's a gym in there that we use. So,
Oh, OCC.
yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mo's pretty well connected within the school system. So
Yeah.
we look out and get some, get some good facilities. So,
How? Man.
but again, it's so hard because it's just so oversaturated in Michigan. Everybody's fighting for their own facilities. Like the Jags have just opened their own facility up.
Where?
I don't know what they've not really shown that much about
is
it,
it
but
the
they're
one
opening.
that's down in Oh my God! When I was trying to design mine, they just did one. When I was designing my facility, because it looked pretty great on social media. Oh God, where is that? It's not. It's.
Well, they're based
it's
out of
down
Norway,
there.
aren't they? Down by
Right.
Wixom, in the Wixom area.
It was
So-
almost Detroit.
Yeah, I mean it's just such a big thing. Over there, because again, there could be scenarios where you're outside, through December, but right now when we left, it's snowing. It's 27 degrees, so you're not doing anything outside. So
How much of a disadvantage do you think that really is?
huge.
It's massive.
Huge.
And
Especially when you come here and you play a team from California that's
been outside
the whole time.
Yep. And people need to realize the cost of indoor facilities. I know firsthand the cost.
yes.
And my place is 4,500 square feet.
Oh wow.
It's 80 by 60. Seriously. And the price, I can't fathom the old Ultimate.
Well, that's changed now.
Right, it's like
It's
a
not-
business.
it's a business
half
now.
of it is
So they have the
offices,
two, yeah.
and then I went there. I went there to do a podcast with Jim Stachura, and it was so sad.
Right.
It's all courts now.
Yep.
You still have the middle field. I always love that field, and you have the outdoor fields, but it's gone, man.
Yeah, it's a shame, and it's crazy because you'd almost think why soccer's expanded and it's growing. There's more and more kids playing it. Why would you then go, less on a facility like that?
Exactly.
Make it into offices and the way that they've kind of done it. But there's not really been a. I think the one out in Washington Township, that could have been a good facility, just because it's got so much open space. But it's just not. Nobody really kind of has followed up with it. They put that turf field in outside.
Well, are you familiar with what? I guess what is it? Bloomfield Tennis Club is trying to do.
No.
So
I don't live in Detroit. I live in Saginaw.
So that's actually where Jim Stachura. That's his regular 9 to 5 job. They are in the process of an indoor facility, I think with 2 full-size indoor fields, and then they have the land. They are trying to do 8 outdoor turf fields lit like this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's...
And nationals are part of it, I believe. And let me say Liverpool, because he coaches for Liverpool. It must be Liverpool. I don't know. But we need it. We need more and more and more. And we need more turf because you can play outside longer on turf, obviously, you know. But
the guys over at Midwest, they opened their they have 2 fields. They have their own complex now.
How's that?
It's nice, great little complex. It's got 2 fields, both of them are lit. And then across the street they have an office building with a little small indoor field that they can kind of utilise. But
is that Mark Franklin's team or club?
No, so it's gone down to Lewis Robinson.
Oh,
so
a Western female coach.
Yep, Lewis is in charge, and then Luke Ruff is his director.
Okay.
Over there, Luke's a former Northwood player, English lad from Bradford. And they, like I said, they've got a very good little program over there.
Where's Mark at?
I don't know where Mark is. I know he was part of the ODP program for a while. I don't know if he still is.
Okay.
Because he was down at Western, weren't he, for a little while. Lewis has been down there for 3 years now, 4 years.
Are you here recruiting at all?
I've watched a couple of games. Yeah, I've watched a couple of games.
Are you looking at like academy and homegrown kids?
Mostly homegrown kids. That have reached out to us.
I watched.
Tough part for me is it's a Division II school, so it's everybody still has the Division
D1 or bust.
Yeah,
but on the boys' side, stop. On the boys' side, if it happens, great. But stop. Like, this is what I wish. Let's get rid of Division I, Division II, Division III. Have power, whatever.
Yep.
And then everybody else is together. And we could talk about scholarship money or not, but D3 doesn't have it. I could see in 10 years D3 and D2 merge, and all of it is no scholarship, and then unless education.
Well, you look at it from the D2 and the D3. It's mostly private schools.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of the state schools are either Division 1. You have the odd state schools at the D2 school, but primarily the Division 2 and Division 3 schools are your private schools. Or sometimes your smaller private schools. So I mean, I think from that aspect, I think it needs to. I agree with you from there. I mean, there needs to be some sort of level playing field. It's difficult, from my standpoint, where we are at Northwood, Saginaw Valley's 20 minutes down the road. We're $54,000 institution. Saginaw Valley's like 25 grand. We're only business. Saginaw Valley, you can get
teaching, everything,
nursing, anything you want.
Everything.
Everything you want. So it's like it's you're not on a level playing field. You know what I mean, when it comes to your recruiting side of things. And I mean, the D1 or bus stream is crazy. I mean, at the 17 age group now, when I first kind of come on, when I have my first kind of meetings with those parents, I talk about college, my first question to the player is how important is playing to you? Like, how important is actually seeing minutes? Because when you come from these environments, you used to play it all the time.
Yep.
You go to a Division 1, you go to a Michigan State, you might not play as a freshman.
Or a sophomore.
That's what I'm saying. So how does you, and then you also got to put in the mental space of you're not at home, so you don't have mum and dad there all the time. Like, everything's you've got to do everything yourself: laundry, cook, go to class. You've got to do all those things, and then your escape, the one thing that you do all the time, is not really there. You're just training. You're not playing.
Right.
You're not traveling. Like when they go out of town and you're at home, it's like, well, what do I do for a weekend? So that, in some aspects, where I think some of the players look at it, and it's like, you could go to a Division 2 school, you could get a lot of money, and you'll play. You know what I mean? Like, why would you not want to do that? You only do it for 4 years. You only get 4 years to do it.
Right.
It's not like you can, because some schools now, with the way that the rules are in the transfer portal, are very hesitant to redshirt you or, to kind of gift you that extra year.
I mean, one of my, actually, one of the boys that played against Josh Sargent. I can't say Josh Sargent. I can't say his name, but anyway, it's the and the sergeant, I don't know, I'm dumb, but he played at, help me, it's a Division III school on the in Grand Rapids or
Calvin.
No, you know what? He went to Kalamazoo.
Okay.
He went to Kalamazoo, and I'll tell you what, his college playing experience was way better than some of the same boys from that team that went D1 that had to transfer, that had to, struggle to get on the field. And Colton, his name is, and loved his, college experience. One of my boys right now, he's at University of Rochester, Division III, pretty high level, but very good team. They can beat and compete with Division I teams and stuff. And he's happier because they're competitive.
Right.
He's happier than some of the boys that are playing D1, and they play, but they get pumped all the time. You know what I mean?
So about 4 years ago, we kind of went that route with Northwood. We went the MLSNext route. We went to the first one at Norco.
Oh yeah.
4 years ago to recruit. And then,
what do you think about that complex? I had a
from
coach.
the field, it looks nice. From the road with the turf fields, but when you go behind the scenes and those grass fields.
Okay, I had Youngstown State's female coach on, and this is off air, and I go, man, I was gonna ask this on air, and I was gonna say, do you recruit out of the GA or the ECNL? And he goes, I will never go back to NorCal again. It's like, oh, okay. And he's like, and I would have said that on the air.
Yeah, it was like I said, from the road, the turf fields at the front, it's all lit up. That it looks the real deal. But then when you get into the back, I think there's no excuse really why they've not gone back there. Or there's a reason why they've not gone back there.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's. I can't even remember. I lost my train of thought now. What we were talking about.
Oh crap! Dang it!
Oh,
why did I do that?
We're talking about us going to MLSNext route with Northwood. So we started to do that with those players, and then you every year it's 2 or 3, and then it's like 1 or 2, and then it's 1, and then because it's still that D1 or bus stream, So then last year it's like, all right, we'll go back to being international again. You know what I mean? It's just easier to get to the international players because they don't look at it and be like, oh, you're Division II school.
Exactly.
They don't look at it like that. They look at it as, okay, the first question is well, am I going to play? Yeah, of course you're going to play. That's why we're bringing you in. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, as long as the degree matches up and I'm going to play and then the finances match up, they're good. They don't look at you're only a D2 school.
Right, exactly. They don't stick their nose up.
No.
And
but again, it's tough to try and change the the mindset because the guys come to these events, and they see the Real Salt Lakes and they see the LAFCs, and it's like, I could still do that, and it's like you need the hard reality that's not happening.
So I asked you guys if you feel removed from that. It's amazing watching how many of the homegrown and the academy players go and watch those guys.
Right.
And I want to know, I would love to talk to a player, not on a podcast or anything, but I wonder if they go over there and do they have the mentality of I should be on that team, I could play for them, or are they whoa, I am so far behind?
I don't know. I mean, that'd be an interesting conversation as well. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how they've kind of viewed them. I mean, obviously, if they're viewing themselves as, I should be at that area, it's like, well, played that team a couple of times.
Right. It's
like when the player says to you, I use Michigan State as an example all the time, just because that's obviously one of the the biggest schools in Michigan that a lot of the guys want to go to. But they're coming to me, the spring of their U19 year, and it's like, I really want to go to Michigan State. And it's like, you kind of would know by now. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that recruiting is, you have to stop looking at it as I'm going to go there. It's like, no, at some point somebody's got to say to you that's not an accessible point, so you look somewhere else. You could get there, do you know what I mean? But you're not going directly there. Maybe you have to go to a Division II school, then a Division I, mid-major, and then to a Michigan State.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? With the way the portal goes. But I just think sometimes coaches maybe don't want to be honest with a player, because if you go to a player and say, oh, you're not going to go there, then they might turn around and say, well, I might go to that club then, and he might be able to get me there. And it's like, no, you'll still be in the same boat, you know what I mean? So I think kind of having those hard reality conversations, and a lot of the times, my conversation discussions with them is, okay, what have you had any interaction with the coach? Well, no, I've been sent a couple of camp emails. Okay, well, probably not really that interested in you then, unless you're actually talking either to their recruiting coordinator and actually having a phone call conversation, or this it's not just that, I'd like to see you at our camp. I was like, because I've done that myself. You know what I mean? Like there's ways that you interact with certain players, and there's certain responses you give back to other players. So, but just being honest with a player, knowing, because again, it's a short window of time that they kind of have. Gone are the days of committing as a junior.
Right.
Now, they might do the verbal, but with the way college athletics are going right now, I mean, you could verbally commit as a junior. Who knows if that coach is even going to be there when you get there in 2 years' time? Do you know what I mean? And the new coach comes in and it's like, I didn't recruit you.
Yeah. What is Vardar? What do you guys do to help in the recruiting process? So
we obviously have the now in the winter time, obviously we have these events. We go to IMG as another event, to kind of get the word out there for obviously from a national side of things. In the winter time, the clubs do good showcases. The Jags do a 2-day event, we do a 1-day event, and then the Wolves do a 1-day event. Where we all play. So at the Wolves one, we'll play Wolves, and then we'll play another MLSNext a homegrown team. And they just invite all of the local schools. Because ultimately, it's nice to come to these events, but unless you're looking to go to school outside of Michigan, do you know what I mean? Like, how much kind of exposure do you kind of really need to be getting from schools in California?
A lot of these clubs, they're sending their entire teams here so that 2 players can get looked at.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it right now.
I think this is an event, though, that I think everybody has to come to this. I think the other events, like the IMG event, I don't know if you're familiar with that, in February, it was actually for a couple of years prior, it was actually an NAL event, and it's good. So it has homegrown and it has academy. The academy teams, it's similar to what is here, so it's 3 games over 4 days. The homegrown teams actually play like a mini tournament, so they're actually shortened games, only 60 minutes long.
Okay.
And you'll play 3 in your group, and then top team from everyone goes in, and you play like a quarter-final, semi-final, final. So it's really good. You get a lot of games. There's tons of obviously exposure because there's a lot of coaches down there. But it helps for the coaches because it's not full 90s. I can pop in, watch 20 minutes here, watch 20 minutes there. It kind of helps from that. So we do those 2, and then I think really that the other recruiting it's very much player-led. And that's where the education side of things comes into the parents. A big thing is every player's journey from when it comes to recruiting is different. Mine and yours are completely different. If we're on the same club team, we're not always going to go. We might go to similar schools, but the way we go about things and what my expectations are and what I need are probably going to be different from what you want. You know what I mean? Like, maybe finance is a big thing for me, and I'm looking for that. Maybe finance is not it's not an option for you. You're a wealthy family, you don't really need to worry about those things. So there's a lot of different variations when it comes to the recruiting thing, and I think sometimes the way that recruits are announced, you know what I mean? Like, everything's social media is a big thing, so a lot of the kids are like, well, he's going here and he's going there, and he's why am I not going to those places? It's like, well, maybe those are not the right fit for you. You need to find your right fit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to when we're letting the parents know and we're letting the players know. You have to find what's right for you. And you have to come up with a list of things. And I think visiting the school is massively important. You have to. One of the main things is you tell the kids you actually have to go there. You have to envision yourself on the campus.
Exactly.
You have to see. This is the cafeteria. This is where I'm going to be eating for the next. If the first time you go there is when you get there for preseason,
no,
you're going to hate it.
And I started this parent community. It's like private, and I kind of do like podcasts with them. It's all virtual podcasts, but it's just parent to parent. So then parents can come in and watch somebody that has a son that's a senior in college, and she goes, like, the mom goes through their coaching or their recruitment process. And I have one of the moms from Chicago Fire Chicago Fire Academy, U17 goalkeeper, and she was on and talking about like the difference between going from club to club to MLS Academy, and it's been really good educationally. But I had 3 different parents say, if soccer ends tomorrow, if a doctor comes in and says, hey, you have a cartilage defect in your knee and you have to end, are you still going to want to go to that school?
Right.
And that's it.
Yep.
And that's it. And that's the only thing. Because everybody's like, oh, you got to find the right fit. Dude, if soccer ends tomorrow, would you want to stay at that school?
So I usually, the one I usually talk to with the players is the first one, do you know what you want to do? And that right away is the number one thing.
That's so hard at that age.
80%, 90% of them I have no clue.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no clue. So it's like, okay, if that's the case, then look at an institution where you can get your general education. Regardless of what degree you do, you're going to have to do a general education. You know what I mean? So maybe you look at a JUCO. You know, JUCO soccer is good. It's usually very cheap. You know, if you can, Schoolcraft is a fantastic opportunity, an example in Michigan.
Right.
I've just had 2 of my guys last year go there. Very good program. Rick does a very good job.
Yeah.
Good education, but they move players on.
Larson's there, right?
Yeah.
Rick
So
Larson.
they move, but it's not one of them where they just come there for the 2 years and then they're done. Like, he does a good job of moving them on from there.
Right.
So it's like, you kind of change that stigma from there. Like, look at that option. Usually, if guys are like, I want to do business. So it's like, okay, so you're looking at a school that is obviously going to be offering business. That's the number one thing. And then it comes down to, do you want to play? Do you want to travel? Do you want to be far enough away from mum and dad where you have to get on a plane, or are you okay with driving an hour and 30, hour and 40 minutes? Because sometimes the kids will be like, I want to be as far away as I can. It's like, okay, if you want to be as far away, have you ever lived away from home before?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever cooked your own food? Have you ever done your own laundry? Have you ever cleaned your own bathroom? Have you ever done all those things that are done for you when you're at home?
Most of them say no.
That's exactly it. So it's like those things that you look at, because you still have a load of not only of soccer, but you've got schoolwork to do. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do the schoolwork, it's in the title. You're a student athlete. You ain't a student, you're not an athlete. It's not athletic student.
Exactly.
It's a student athlete. So if you're not doing the first thing, I have no say. If you're not eligible, I can't call the NCAA up and go, I really need him this weekend. They're like, well, he's below a 2.0, so he's not playing. So those kinds of things that I don't think they kind of understand when it comes down to like changing the mindset of, I just want to play. But then also as well, there are some players, like I had 4 kids last year from my 19s that could have played in my opinion, that could have played at the next level. They're just not playing at all.
Yeah.
They didn't get the D1 offer that they thought they were going to get, and they just decided they were just going to go to school.
You talked about how Jags have their event, or a showcase, or whatever they call it, and then Wolves does one, and then you guys do one, and you're all invited to it, right? You guys all invite each other, or no?
Yeah, so the Jags one, I believe they do, but we don't play each other. So last year at the Jags event, we played Cincinnati United before they came in. Obviously, they're an MLS club this year.
Yeah.
And then we played Vaughan out of Canada.
Okay.
So, and that one was pretty big. There was quite a few. I think Philly brought a team up. Cincinnati brought a team up. Obviously, Pete's pretty well connected at the Jags.
Yeah, he is.
And then obviously Wolves. But the Jags one's over a couple of days. It's Saturday, Sunday, which I think is good because you play one on Saturday and one on Sunday.
How is the relationship between those 3 clubs? And even like you can include Nationals in that too. How is the...
I think Nationals kind of keep to themselves.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, on the boys' side, they're okay. I mean, the
girls' side, they're very good.
Yeah, they're more predominantly a girls' club than anything. There's a lot of... I mean, a lot of the guys tend to kind of come to us at 15, 16, 17.
Got it.
I mean, I flew in with the guys from the Jags today. When I flew in, like I know all of the guys. Same with the Wolves guys, Lars and Granite and those guys.
And they're all okay and cordial and like nice to each other for the most part. Where in Buffalo, it's like, I hate that guy. I'm not talking to him.
Oh, really?
Blah, blah.
No,
it's bad.
It's not like that. I mean, ultimately you're all pretty much doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like obviously their philosophies are a little bit different to what we do. But ultimately we're all in. And again, it's competitive as long as it's respectful and when you're competitive, when you're competing. But ultimately that's what the environment that you want to kind of create for the players. You know what I mean?
And there's rivalries.
Yeah, absolutely.
You circle the Wolves game.
100%.
You circle it. There's no circling where I'm at.
Really?
Well, what are we gonna circle? Because the two massive clubs, they never compete. You got R&Y that's in the MLS Next and the GA, and then you have Flash that's boys ECNL and girls ECNL. They never play each other, so they just like shit on each other. Oh, you guys suck. No, we're the best. Blah.
No,
there's no rivalry.
Within my teams we have a little. We have our little Michigan league. We want to be the best. When we play the Wolves, we want to beat Wolves, want to beat Jags, want to beat Midwest, want to beat MFA.
Yeah.
We want to be the best Michigan team out there. But also as well, you understand that those guys, they're producing some good players. They put good programs on. They obviously have a good product. So
you talked about how saturated it kind of is, right?
Yeah.
And it used to be when it was just Wolves and Vardar, it would be like the Wolves 18s are really good, but then the Vardar 16s are really good.
Right.
And then you know what I mean? And then it was never both of them were really good. It was kind of like split. Like in back-to-back years, it was Vardar won. I think the Wolves won. Nope, Vardar won first. I don't remember, but Vardar won national title in the DA. Demir won it. And then the next year, Lars won it with like Reed Losey and oh my God, what's his name? Jordan Tyler and those guys, right? And Hicklin, and Nate Hicklin, if you know Dave Hicklin at all. And it has to be even worse now.
Yeah, it's again you go well. Obviously I think the reach has got a lot smaller. Obviously before when it was just Vardar and it was just Wolves. Maybe if you were a Lansing kid, as an example, you might maybe travel down to Vardar and play, or if you're an Ann Arbor kid, you would go to Wolves, or a Livonia kid or a Novi kid, you'd kind of be like, well, do I go to Vardar or go to Wolves? When Jags planted, it's like, okay, so you almost have Vardar, Jags, Wolves, so you've kind of got your Detroit kind of areas if you're from the north. But then the problem with our area in the north part of Detroit, you've got Nationals and you've got Liverpool now. So it's pretty, saturated from that area. And there's little small ones popping up, like the Michigan Development Academy that was United FC. That they're doing their own little things, and and I think ultimately it's because of all of these E64 popping up, and all these leagues popping up. And clubs are looking at it, so I can get into that. It's an elite level, quote unquote league. That'll be able to sell me to the parents, so that I can get. Keep my 2 or 3 little superstars.
Yeah.
As well as those 2 or 3 little superstars prior would be, well, if I want to go play at the top level, that's the development academy. So I either go to Vardar or I go to Wolves.
Yep.
Slowly but surely, those guys kind of start to spread out a little bit more, and instead of having, 15 on one that are the top and the other top 15 are on that, 5 here and like 2 there and like 3 there and like 4. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. It's just got oversaturated, and until something comes in and mandates it, it's only good. Because again, like I said, the way that the whole MLS2 and MLS1 has been put together, if you're an uneducated parent, you can believe anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until you actually come to these events and it's like, hang on a minute, this team's way better than we are. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know there's a homegrown division. What's that?
What's that? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and it's the first year, so I think hopefully, and Luis Robles has, I think he's got something really going on. He's sharp.
Right.
He's the one that kind of like came up with it. Him and Fred Lipka.
Really?
Yeah. So.
I do think it's a good idea because again, it gives high level soccer to more people.
Exactly. It's kind of opening up the system a little bit because it's been called a gated community by some.
Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely see that, and especially when it's that development academy that you're never able to break into that. As a club. But I think also what it needs to be is just you can't. It doesn't. because there's a lot of academy teams that don't have the homegrown route. Not every homegrown team. Every homegrown team has an academy, but not every academy has a homegrown. If you can keep it like that, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't oversaturate the homegrown side of it, because I think what happens then is you just dilute the product.
And it's basically, avoiding playing in two different leagues.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's like MLSNext, and then the B teams were in ECNL. Well, some clubs, I don't know if this is true or not, some clubs are getting kicked out of the ECNL if the boys choose to go to homegrown or even the academy.
Yep.
Like, if your boys go to the academy, ECNL is like, see ya.
Well, that's why we moved out of there, because they were telling us that we had to put our top teams into ECNL, and it was like, it's not
no,
it's
never going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You just don't have that product, unfortunately.
I had a former Michigan guy. He's in Florida now. He's a director, and he says that he is hearing that somebody or something is about to take over.
The private equity firm is trying to buy both of them and put them
MLS is going to be the boys, ECNL on the girls. There will be no more ECNL boys.
Oh, wow.
And there will be no more GA. That's what he told me. And he asked me, he's like, do you know anything about this? I go, no, you're telling me this is the first time I'm hearing about this. This was like 2 days ago. So be on the lookout. That's kind of what I want, to be honest with you. Let MLS. And I had this conversation with one of the Jags guys. Who's going to win this war? The league controlled by millionaires, or the league controlled by billionaires?
Yeah, for sure.
Usually it's the billionaires that are going to win out.
Well, a parent said to me a couple of days ago, he's like, I've heard there's supposed to be a private equity company trying to buy both of them.
Yep.
And merge them together. And I was just like,
I've gotten a lot of messages about that.
I just don't see MLS looking at that and being like, yeah,
they don't need private equity.
No, they don't need that. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they're the face of the league.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't see where they're... And if anything, I mean, in the 3.5 years I've been doing this, it's expanded a lot already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't ever see them looking at that and being like, yeah, sure, you take our revenue stream away from us.
Absolutely. Man, what a conversation.
Absolutely.
1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm glad you came and stopped by again.
Yeah, it was good to see you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And when do you go home?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Got it. All right. I mean, this will probably air in like a few weeks.
Okay.
I've done 7-8 episodes here, so I know I'm gonna spread them out just like I normally. I'm not gonna just.
As all of them.
Have to put all of them out on one day or anything like that, because what they wanted me to do is promote this and let it last. I'll be talking about this in every episode for the rest of the year, or for the rest of the podcast maybe. And I might be going to Real Salt, the whatever's at Salt Lake Cup.
MLS Cup.
MLS Cup, yeah. So this has been crazy though. It's like, why am I here?
Right. It's good though. I mean, like I said, you've been able to kind of interview a few different variations of people.
High school coaches, ECNL coaches, MLSNext coaches, the director of, or the vice president of MLSNext.
Right.
While I was here, and it's wild, man. I love it.
No, it was good. I was glad I was able to get on. Like I said, I wanted to do it last time, but it never worked out.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I enjoy listening to it. So
appreciate it, man.
Some good guys on. So
yeah, and
I appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, it's always good to talk to a Michigan guy. Because I miss home.
For sure.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely.
All right.
I hate soccer.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode of the I Hate Soccer podcast. If you feel stuck in your recruiting process, we created a guide that includes feedback from 15 college coaches and 10 current college soccer players. Inside this guide, you'll find out what really works in recruiting, from showcases, ID camps, highlight reels, and more. Check it out at playmakertraining.com/recruited.